Hey everyone, it's Stella Grizont with this week's Remote and Resilient, and I want to talk about how do you as a leader talk with your team to do a real check-in, a real check-in. So I know it's an awkward time, and especially if you don't feel confident as a people leader, having these vulnerable conversations with your team may be just something you'd rather avoid. Plus, you have your own thing going on, right? Whether it's trying to deal with isolating at home or thinking about how to get back into the office and how to keep everyone safe or juggling homeschooling for your children. So you're holding a lot right now. And so I want to talk to you about how can you hold the space for your team if they need you or something from you, but maybe they're not quite comfortable asking. So the very first thing I would encourage you to do is to be familiar with what resources you have in your hands right now, or what resources your organization is offering you. So is there an EAP program that offers free counseling support to employees? What other benefits are available for employees if they need to actually get some support for their mental health or childcare? I know there are some organizations out there that are now offering free subscription services to homeschooling tools or ways to help keep kids engaged. So really be familiar with all the resources you have available to you, which also could include your ability to give people a day off, right? Or your ability to move them onto a different project, or your ability to change their deadlines or the nature of their role and responsibility and adjust it for the time at hand. So you probably have some levers that you can push and pull so that you might be able to make your employees' experience at home more supportive for what they're dealing with. So what do you actually say? Like, how do you actually have this conversation if you haven't had it already? Well, the first thing I encourage you to do before you actually have the conversation is to really plug in with yourself, right? And this is something I always do before I have a coaching session or I do a speaking event, is I really take time to get grounded, and I also practice a loving kindness meditation. I try to do this daily in the morning. And a loving kindness meditation is really just wishing others well and wishing yourself well. And it goes something like this: May you be healthy, may you be happy, may you be safe, may you be peaceful. And so I know this sounds really crazy that I'm talking about this Buddhist practice in context of like how to really talk to your employees. But the reason why I think it's important for you to develop some sort of practice to get plugged in a compassionate place is because you as a leader, your emotions are contagious, and your emotions are actually more contagious than peer to peer. So we know your emotions as a leader can travel 7 times faster throughout the team than peer to peer. So just like COVID is spreading, so is your anxiety or your joy or your confidence, right? And so if you're going to step into a conversation to do a real check-in, you want to make sure that you're entering it from a place of no judgment, right? Entering it from a place of genuine care. So if you're going to use the questions I'm offering you as an expression of your care, then that's what we want to transmit. But if you're using them to kind of do something other than that, then that's also going to come through. So you want to almost cleanse yourself from any criticism you have of anyone, any judgment, any preconceived notions, and really try to enter this conversation from a place of I want to be of service to you. Okay. So that said, the loving kindness is one great way to do it. And you can just Google loving kindness meditation. Insight Timer is a free app and has a number of loving kindness meditations on it. UCLA, um, the UCLA mindfulness app also has it, and it's also free. So I would encourage you to explore that, or just really cultivate a sense of authentic desire to be of service before you have that meeting. So really managing, if you just had a really rushed day or you're feeling anxious, you don't want to just jump into a deep conversation with your employee, right? So you want to take some time to collect yourself. So that being said, then after you feel collected and in a caring place, then you want to actually consider who you're talking to and try to put yourself in their shoes. So let's imagine that maybe you're a single man and you're isolating alone. And the person you're going to speak to is a woman with 3 children, and she's homeschooling 2 of them, right? So it may be very difficult to relate to that experience. You may understand on some level that she's having a rough go, but really take some time to just visualize what her morning might be like. What do her children need from her? What do you know about how she's managing that, and how is she sharing that responsibility? Now, you may not know these details. It also is not critical or maybe even appropriate for you to know them. But what is critical is that you're willing to try to understand the circumstances that surround her when she shows up to work, and how might you enable her. These are not normal working conditions. There are no boundaries, and she has responsibility for 3 children, which if they were in school, she wouldn't be distracted by that. So really take some time to sink in, right? Is there someone at work who had COVID, or who has a family member who's had COVID, or who has lost someone, right? Or maybe you are a person as a manager with a very big family, and a young person on your team is isolating alone, and that person, you find yourself maybe judging them as like, oh, they have all the time in the world, and they're watching Netflix and like picking up a new language, and really dismissing maybe their experience. So no matter what your experience as a manager, before you start a conversation, try to really envision each of your employees and what a day in their life is like now, so that you can be coming into the conversation from a place of curiosity and empathy, okay? So then if you can't quite relate to what it's like, or maybe you can, I would say something like, to open up the conversation, look, I don't really know what it's like to be isolating alone, or I don't really know what it's like to have 3 kids that you're homeschooling and working full time, or I don't really know what it's like to have a family member who's going through COVID, or I don't really know what it's like for you right now. Can you tell me how you're doing? Like, how are you really doing? Right? Now, what's really important, again, is the tone that you're using when you're speaking. Your tone is a reflection of your energy, and your energy is everything in conversation. So if you're intending to make this a caring conversation, really come from a place of authentic concern, right? So if you're rushing through this, or you don't really care, it's going to come through. If it feels awkward for you and you're not a people person and you normally don't have these conversations, maybe your conversations are just project focused, then you might want to say something to start off the conversation. Look, I know we don't normally go here, and I'm actually not really good at this, and this kind of feels awkward, but I want you to know I care about you, and I just want to check in. So how are you doing? And I don't know what it's really like for you. I haven't heard that. So can you fill me in? All right. So the second thing you want to do is, I'm just looking at, I want to, so the second thing you want to do, and only if this is actually true, is to assure your employee of the safety that they have with you and of their job. And hopefully that, I know that you can't guarantee everyone's job security, but to the point that you can, um, express it. And if you do feel like they don't have job security, then maybe don't go there right now. But if they do have job security and you just want to make sure you're supporting them, then you might want to say, hey, I just want you to know that you're doing great and we appreciate you, and this, we appreciate how you've been on top of this project and contributing, and I really liked your ideas, and just know that we really value you. But I want to do this check-in to make sure that you feel comfortable coming to me if there's anything going on, where you just want to express that you need some extra support, or if there's anything that you want to shift, or if there's anything that you've been having a hard time with, but have found yourself holding back because you don't feel comfortable bringing it forward. I just want to create the open space for you to bring up what I can do to support you in making it through this time. And if the person is an overachiever, you might want to say, I know you always give 150%, and it might be really hard balancing this with your home life. But I just want you to know, if you need my help in delegating more, if you need my help in prioritizing, if you need my help in giving you permission to say no to things, I'm here for that too. So that's kind of like the second round of questioning, where you're giving the person a sense of safety and permission to bring up what's unsaid. And you might hear in any of these answers something shocking that you have no idea how to answer, right? So maybe they start talking about some mental health struggles that you weren't aware of. And it's not your job to know how to answer all of those. So that's why I recommend you're being ready with the resources your organization has to offer, like, you know, acknowledging what they're saying. So, wow, I had no idea this was happening for you, and it must be so hard. So empathizing, describing what they're saying to you, reflecting that back, using their same language, and then saying, I acknowledge you, and I acknowledge that that's hard. And then saying, I don't actually feel like I have I don't feel like equipped, honestly. I don't know what to say, but I do know that we have these free resources through work that might be helpful. And if you need to take a day off to reach out to them, I totally support you, and just know that I have your back, right? So the third question you might want, and I hope I'm not scaring you away from actually checking in with your employees, and I'm sure many of you already have, at this point in the pandemic, but I think this is good to do always and in some version or another. But then you might want to say something finally, just say like, look, you don't have to tell me now, and I know you might have not expected this, but feel free to come back to me anytime once you have some time to really process it. But if there's anything that I can do as a leader to support you or the team in making it through this time, please let me know. I know that may feel really awkward, to tell me, especially if I'm not doing something great. But I do want to hear how I can be more supportive to help you do your job, but also to help you stay healthy and well through this time. So as a leader, maybe you already know that maybe something will come back that I don't like to hear. But your job as a leader is to actually tend to your team and to support them in doing what they need to do. And that means that they have to be healthy, well, and have the capacity to show up. So I hope that helps. I probably should have introed this a little bit better in the video, but I just have a sense that, we know so many people are promoted into leadership without really having the skills for leading people. And at this time, and nor are they provided with the appropriate training, right? You have the hard skills, but not always the human skills. And so my intention is just to, if you don't know what to say and it's really, really awkward, you're not alone and it's not your fault. But it also doesn't mean that you don't go there, right? Because it's important to check in and understand if if folks are having a really hard time, there's probably a way that you could help them. And I know that you want that for them too. So with that, I hope that you are healthy and well and your family is healthy and well. And please leave a comment and let me know what you think of this video. And if you want me to address other topics, I am totally game. So that's it. Thank you so much and be well. And feel free to like this video or subscribe to my YouTube channel, all of that. Okay, bye.